Hey, seventh graders. We're on 8-1 now. Vertical and adjacent angles, page 391. Okay, so we're going to be working more with geometry now. We're going to start with angles. There's going to be some things you may have heard already and you may not have. So the hands on a clock form an angle with the vertex at the center. So when we're talking angles, the vertex is at the center. And at different times of day, the angle formed by the clock hands could be obtuse, acute, right, straight, and zero. So let's do a quick reminder. Anything really wide would be obtuse. Anything really small would be acute. A right angle is exactly at 90 degrees. Straight is exactly 180. That could be up and down, left to right. And zero, so there's none, okay? We're gonna look at these right here. The symbol for an angle is a little angle. An angle named this is read as angle XYZ. An angle can be named in a number of ways, using one letter, which is the vertex, placing the number in the middle and using that. And here is what that looks like. This angle here can be named angle S because S is in the middle. It can be angle 3 because that's the inside measurement of that angle. It could be TSR or RST. Why could it not be TRS? Okay, that's because the middle at the vertex where the two lines come together, that is always going to have to be the middle letter. So S has to be the middle letter. All right, so now example 1, how can we name this? So we have X, Y, Z, angle 1. So could we call it angle 1? Select all of them. Yep. Could we call it angle XYZ? XYZ, yeah, the Y's in the middle, the Y's in the middle, yep. We can't do this one because the Y is not in the middle. They say XZY, that would not, XZY would be this angle here. What about ZXY? ZXY, nope, that Y has to be in the middle. ZYX, yep. Angle X, no. Angle Y, yes. Angle Z, no, this is not where the angle is, okay? So this one, how would we name this? We could say angle B. We could say angle 2, the 2 inside. We could say angle ABC, ABC, or we could say angle CBA. Any of those 4 ways. Now over here, we're gonna get into something with angles where we have to figure out measurements. Here's a vocab term though. 2 angles are vertical angles if they're opposite angles formed by the intersection of 2 lines, if they are opposite. Vertical angles are congruent or have the same measure. So these are forming a bunch of angles. It's a vertical angle because there's opposites here. So 1 and 3 are vertical angles, and 2 and 4 are vertical angles. They are opposite angles. These will be either similar or exactly like the other one, okay? Identify the vertical angle pairs in the figure. Now, this is saying vertical, so that means just the opposite of, okay? Angle 1 is vertical to angle B4. And they put the angle for us. Angle 2 is vertical to angle, it's the opposite, 5. Oops. Angle 3 is vertical to angle 6, okay? So the vertical angles, 1 and 4, 2 and 5, and 3 and 6. Those are vertical angles. Now those vertical angles will be congruent. That's what this little sign means. So when you have a little tilde equal sign, that means congruent. So Remember earlier I said they're usually the same? They're identical, congruent, okay? If they start putting in a whole bunch of other lines, that's when you have to be careful, like they kind of do here. But when it's just 4 lines, it's really simple. Vertical angles are congruent. So 1 and 4 will have the exact same angle. Over here, it's more the same. 1, this is where I told you about it would get tricky. 1 would be opposite to what? 2 and 5 is easy. You know 2 and 5. What about, so if we take out 2 and 5, what are the opposite ones? Are 1 and 3 exactly opposite those vertical angles? No, it'd be 1 and 4. 1 to 4 and 3 to 6. Okay. Now, there's a whole bunch of solving the measurements here, what they could be. This is kind of too much. I don't want you to worry about that. Just know if this is 89 degrees, this will be 89 degrees too, okay? So that's where it's going to become an issue. Over here, it kind of shows it a little bit better. It talks about equaling up to 180, okay? The pages are stuck. Well, I'll just stay here then, okay? Over on to this side here are adjacent angles. They share a common vertex, a common side, and don't overlap. So, let me move my pen. 1 and 2 are adjacent. 2 and 3 are adjacent. 3 and 4 are adjacent. 4 and 1 are adjacent. Meaning they're right next to each other. Adjacent neighbors are right next to each other. So what would be adjacent to 2? What is right next to 2, would you say? Okay, let me zoom in here. All right. So vertical would be 2 and 5. But what is right across from 2? It's right across from 5. You could look at it a number of ways. 2 would be adjacent to 6 if you were looking at it from here to here. Okay. But you could say, oh, I was looking at it from here to here. It's okay, just to get the basic idea down. Same thing over here. They're going to make you do all this math with the 180. If you're not comfortable doing it, don't worry about it. For adjacent angles, let me get a blank spot here. Not a good blank spot. Over here. Okay. If you have an angle, okay, this one will be congruent to this one. Let's say this is 1 and 3. And then 2 and 4 are vertical angles. They will be congruent to each other and over here. Now, if I have something like that over here, and I say this is 89 degrees from here to here, how could I figure out what this one would be? Well, from all the way over here to all the way over here, it will equal 180 degrees. So 180 minus 89, because this is 89. And that will give you what this would have to be. Obviously, my beautiful drawing is not up to par, but you'll get the main idea, okay? We're gonna skip the practice with this one and move on to the next.